Hey, how are you all? Today I want to talk to you about writing books. My name is Angie Morenga and you're watching Just Angie. Writing books. I don't know what I was doing the other day, then I just reflected. And I think actually I was looking at leaders who really impacted the nation and just reflecting upon them. And I just wondered, hey, have these leaders, I just started wondering in my spirit whether some of them have written books, and one of them was John Mishoki, and I was like, we really miss that man as a nation. I mean, he was able to do such great and mighty things, and I wondered whether he's written a book. I'm still not sure whether he has, but it just challenged me, and I thought I'd want to do a video on writing books. Books are very, very powerful. I mean, we're reading books that people wrote 100 years ago. It will really, in terms of you're thinking about legacy, then you really must write a book. I remember I made my dad write a book, so I connected him with a publisher and a writer, and at least he wrote down his story. And I remember he gave me just a part of it just to proofread. I learned so much. I was like, wow, I'm so glad that he's not going yet. He's not going yet, but I'm so glad that he wrote those stories. There's so many things that I didn't know because my dad had an accident quite a number of years ago, almost 40 years ago, and he's paralyzed from the waist down, but has done a lot of stuff. I mean, my dad has done so much. He's built buildings, built organizations, corporations. He was MD of an organization, an insurance organization, for 8 years. By the time he had his accident, he was also there for another 8 years even after. So one thing he's really shown us is that you can do anything, you know. Don't let life cut short your destiny. And sometimes I think he's the reason why we keep going, because every time I want to have a pity party on myself, I remember my dad. I say, hey, I wake up and get on with this, you know. So he's been a place of strength, you know, a source of strength for all of us, and a place of not giving up. And so I was saying that we need to write books. So even him, I got him to write his, I'm not sure which it is, When You're Still Alive. I think it's an autobiography, but I made him write it. I got him together, we took pictures, and we're writing it, and we're in the process of editing it. So I think it's powerful, because I was thinking, you know, it's important to write what were the challenges you went through, how did you overcome them, what are the obstacles, what are the highlights of your life, what did you enjoy, you know, so that we could read that. Imagine if Mishoki had written a book on how did he get these Matatu people to do what he needed to do, you know. Everywhere he went, there was progress, you felt him, there was impact, there was order that came into it. So it would have been nice for him to show us, and maybe he did, maybe he told the people around him, but I'm just trying to say, I think it's a good idea that if we write books, so it would be really good. I'm just encouraging every person, young or old, to whatever stage you are in life, to write a book. It's very, very important, because it will outlive you, and it will be for generations, you know. Some of us maybe will see our great-great-grandchildren, but maybe some of us will not, and you want maybe your great-great-grandchildren or generations that are coming to have a piece of you, to know what you are about, what you stood for, what were your values, what was your life like, what were your experiences like. And you know, nobody else can tell us your life the way you could. I know they write, I think now they don't know which one is right, the biography, but after they could write a story about you, but there's nothing as important as the real deal, you know. So I'm really challenging leaders to write books on their experiences, write books, maybe when the things they want to tell future generations. Sometimes, you know, we also guard our generation, and people wonder, why do you have so much passion for this nation or this generation? Maybe it's because we fought for it, or blood was spilled. So tell us those stories so they can keep us updated. I'm even remembering a friend of mine called, I think Kaki, her mom has written a book as well. And I remember my daughter picked up that book when she was like 18 or 20. She didn't put it down. And it was about the Kikuyu and their traditions. I forget the name of the book, but I'll remember, and I'll post it after this video. And it's just an amazing book, just telling how the Kikuyu lived, and she was totally engrossed. And then it's actually when I look back and I said, you know, they actually don't know these traditions. Us guys at least used to be shipped off to shags every holiday, so we had an inkling on how to live, and we used to gather around the fire, be told stories, you know. So we had an inkling about the culture, and the stories were always about the culture. But probably that's not the case now, you know, and that's why she picked up the book and was so hungry and read everything about it, because she wanted to know what her culture is, what's my history, what's my identity, who are my people. And that's why I'm encouraging every single person to write a book, encourage somebody else to write a book, so that you can leave a piece of you, a piece of your history, a piece of who you are, what you stand for, your values, your identity, with another generation. You know, I have many journals, so I journal a lot, not as often as I should, but I have many journals. I think right now, maybe counting, there are about 100. And I always imagine that my journals are for my granddaughter. That's what I feel like. Like my granddaughter, they will resonate with her. First of all, I hope she can read the handwriting, because my own daughter is not really interested. So I get a feeling that maybe there's another generation that will be interested in those journals. Maybe they'll turn them into books. I don't know what they will do with them. But and I'm currently writing more books. I have written the Purpose and Leadership Forum manual. It took me 3 years to write. Right now it's in the process of re-editing and being published again. And from that came the Purpose and Leadership Forum audio manual, because they want to listen. And I'm writing a book on vision, executing vision in the marketplace. And I want to write my own story, a book called Raw. So those are already 3 books. But I also feel there are more books in me. Maybe I want to write about different challenges. Maybe I'm also working on a marriage manual. I asked a cross-section of leaders. They are asking 4 questions on marriage, and they answered them, and now we're putting together a manual, which if you read, you must stay married. You will stay married, because if you've read that manual, people have fungued their hearts about marriage and their actual practical journey. Then you should be able to read it, know what's coming, and be able to embrace it and stay married. So we're also working on a marriage manual, and I know now I have to work on a prophetic intercession manual, because also by God's grace, I've raised a group of prophetic intercessors, but I need to know what that is. I need people to know, how do you do that? How do you prophetically intercede for a family, for a generation, for a nation, for an organization, for a marketplace nation? How do you do that, you know? And we've been on a journey where God has been teaching us about prophetic intercession. And then the thing about books, they cross borders, you know. Right now with the prophetic intercessors that by God's grace we are raising, we're doing C.D. Jacobs' The Reformation Manifesto, and she's written a book about militant intercessions, possessing the gates of the enemy. So we're going through that. You see, her, she's in America, she's in Red Oak. We're here in Kenya, but we're able to do a study and to gain and to glean from her writing. And that's why I've said we have to write books. You know, Africa has a rich heritage, a rich history, a rich culture, a rich people. And even some of the cultures, we don't even know why we do the things that we do. Somebody needs to tell us, and we need to leave a legacy. We need generations to know about this. And I'll conclude by saying the Bible was written and handed over generations to generation. I mean, I love the fact, I think it was King Ezra who used to write write out the scripts again. They become old, they write them again, you know, keeping the chronicles of the word. And that's what we need to do. And that's why we have a Bible today, because there were people who were diligent in writing it, in expressing what was in their hearts or what God was saying, because God says that every scripture is breathed by God, you know, it's breathed into men, and then the men would write them. So it's very, very important. I really want to challenge you to begin to write books, and you could probably start even by journaling, just journaling your thoughts, your ideas, your experiences, whatever it is that you feel called to do. And I guess we're in an age where we don't even have to write. I saw the idea on my phone that you can press a microphone and speak, and it types out what you want. So we're in a very technological age. So maybe you want to speak it into a recording device, maybe on your phone or a dictaphone. I don't even know where those exist, but on your phone there's a recording mechanism. So is that how you want to keep your journal? By speaking into it? Is it by speaking into a device that can write? And there are programs like that where you speak, but they put it into text, you know. So life is easier. It's easier. You don't even have to sit down and write or sit down and type. There are many ways that you can approach writing a book. So I really want to thank you so much, to honor those who have written books, because it's important. It allows us access into their lives in such a beautiful way, and I can take my time, read the book at my own time. And so I'm really encouraging us to write books. My name is Angie Morenga. You're watching Just Angie, and it's been a great pleasure. Please write to me. Tell me what you've done in terms of writing books, how you're going to start, or what you have already done, and how even that interaction makes you feel about leaving your legacy. God bless you. Bye-bye.